Welcome to the Reading Corner with Mrs. G. For more great stories, subscribe here. This is a tale of virtue about moderation. It is called The Fisherman and His Wife. Once upon a time, a poor fisherman and his wife lived in a little cottage near a river. Every day, the poor fisherman went to the river and fished for their dinner. One day, the fisherman caught a magical fish in his net. It said, "Fisherman, I beg you to let me live. I am not really a fish. I am an enchanted prince. Please let me swim away." The fisherman quickly agreed to let the fish go. "Say no more," said the fisherman. "I am quite willing to set free a fish that can talk." "For that I will grant you a wish," said the fish. But the fisherman said there was nothing he needed. The fisherman let the fish go free. When he went home, his wife asked, "Husband, what have you caught for me to cook for our dinner?" "I have brought nothing home," he said. "I did catch a very big fish, but the fish claimed to be an enchanted prince, so I threw him back into the water." "Oh dear," she said, "you might at least have made a wish before you set him free." "I couldn't think of anything that we needed," replied her husband. "What would you have wished for?" "Well, we certainly could use a nicer place to live. I'm sure that if you go back and ask the fish for a nicer house, he will gladly give it to you." The fisherman did not really think that they needed a nicer home, but he did as his wife asked. The fisherman went to the river and called, "Princely fish that I have set free, hear my words and come to me." Just as soon as the fisherman had finished reciting this rhyme, the fish appeared. "Why did you call me?" the fish asked. The fisherman was a little nervous, but he got up his nerve and answered, "My wife would like to make a wish after all." "And what is her wish?" asked the fish. "She doesn't want to live in a tiny cottage anymore," said the fisherman. "She would like to live in a bigger and nicer house." "Go home to your wife," said the fish. "She already has her wish." The fisherman hurried back home. There was his wife waving from the doorway of a pretty new house. The house was filled with everything they needed. "Now we can be happy," the fisherman said. But a few days later, his wife said, "Husband, this house is too small. We need more space. Go back to the river and ask the fish for a castle." The fisherman wanted his wife to be happy, so he went back to the river and called, "Princely fish that I set free, hear my words and come to me." Again, as soon as the fisherman finished speaking, the fish appeared. "Now what?" asked the fish. The fisherman thought the fish sounded just a tiny bit angry. "Alas, I must ask another favor of you," the fisherman said regretfully. "It seems as though my wife now wants to live in a rich castle." "Go home. She is already there," said the fish. When the fisherman returned home, his wife waved to him from the balcony of a huge castle. "Isn't it beautiful?" asked the wife. The fisherman nodded his head in agreement. He looked at all the things inside the magnificent castle. The fisherman thought that now they must have everything they could ever possibly want. Early the next morning, the wife woke up frowning. She said, "Husband, we live in a castle. It is only right that we should be king and queen of all the land." The fisherman really did not want to be king, but his wife insisted. The unhappy fisherman finally gave in and went back to the river. Once again, the fisherman approached the river and called the fish. The fish appeared as before. This time, though, the river and the sky seemed to get darker. "What is it now?" the fish asked. The fisherman was sure the fish was unhappy, but he asked his favor anyway. "I'm afraid my wife wants to be king and queen," sighed the fisherman. "Go home. She is already queen," said the fish. Sure enough, when the fisherman arrived back at the castle, his wife was sitting on a huge gold throne. "Now that you are queen," said the fisherman, "surely you will not wish for anything more." "I'm not at all sure of that," said the queen. "I have a feeling there's something else we need." That night, the fisherman slept very well. His wife, however, lay awake tossing and turning. Just as the wife was about to fall asleep, the morning sun came up. Bright sunlight poured in through the royal bedroom window. The wife sat up in bed. "Husband," she called out, "I do not think the sun should rise without my permission. I want complete power over the rising and setting of the sun." "Wife," said the fisherman, "please don't make me go back and call the fish again. I fear that this time the favor is too much to ask." "Tell the fish to grant my wish," shouted the wife. Quaking with fear, the fisherman got dressed. He hurried to the river and called the fish. A bright bolt of lightning struck the river's edge. "What does your wife want now?" bellowed the fish. "Oh, fish," said the fisherman fearfully, "she wants the power to make the sun rise and set." "Go home to your wife," said the fish. The fisherman went home to find his wife in front of their humble cottage. "Husband," said the wife, "I am so sorry that I got carried away with greed. Each new and better thing only made me think I wanted more. But the more I got, the more unhappy I became. I forgot to be happy with what I already had." "It is my fault too," the fisherman said. "When you wanted more, I asked the fish for it." The fisherman lovingly kissed his wife, took his net, and went to the river. He gazed into the clear blue water as he fished. That night, he brought his wife a nice plain fish for their dinner. Moderation. The fisherman and his wife learned a great deal about moderation. Moderation means not having too much or too little of anything. Instead of being thankful for the nice things she had, the fisherman's wife always wanted more. Have you ever had too much of something? Like the fisherman and his wife, maybe you have learned that less can be better. Sometimes simple things can make us happier than all the castles and crowns in the world. Learn to live in moderation. Be content.